ladies with poke bonnets and calico dresses pick up a palm leaf fan and suddenly become a femme fatale. They try their inscrutable look, you know. It's a funny thing. A fan does something to a woman. You just get all flirty and you become a coquette, you know. Well, so I was in a costume shop and picked up the fans, you know. I did everything the girls do, like pose and inscrutable and flirty. And because they were ostrich feathers and soft and wavy, I picked up two and suddenly said, ha, that's the way the herons look. This is white birds flying in the moonlight. Wow. And I worked on it. Well, that costumer's name was Maybelle, too, Maybelle Shearer. She loaned me two moth-eaten fans to practice with. The costuming, or the lack thereof, was wholly by accident. I had intended to take the only chiffon nightgown I had, which I was saving for a better purpose, but it hadn't come up to then. I'll be seeing you, and you'll be seeing more of me. Thank you.
Are you glad to be home with Daddy?
Yeah.
You are. I bet you are. You tired, girl?
No.
Did you get some cookies?
Yeah.
You did? What kind of cookies?
The little
Alan, I know it's been quite an ordeal for you. How does it feel to have her home?
cookies.
Yeah, go in there and tell your grandmother to give you one. She'll give you one.
Bye-bye, Tina. Bye-bye. What was the first lead that you had as to the whereabouts? Did you hear it through the FBI or through some other agency? Or?
Well, we sort of knew what happened. We didn't know who. I knew who sent them. I mean, but we didn't know the people that did it. But we worked that out pretty. They did an excellent job. You just can't believe how good them guys are.
Did you know the Jones boy or the other one?
I knew the Jones boy real well.
Did you ever have any problems with him?
No, he's a nice guy. I hate to see him get messed up.
Alan, what about this story that was concocted about a $4,000 gambling debt?
The way they finally come up with it, they told Dad so that my ex-wife knew that I'd been in Florida before I came down here visiting one time, and so they said Florida and to throw everything that away, but it just didn't work.
There was no gambling debt?
No, there was no gambling debt. It's just a woman's whim, I guess you'd call it. It sure raised hell with a lot of people's lives.
Alan Kane, thank you very much.
The flag is too special to desecrate. It is too special to make a pledge to it mandatory. It's a glorious thing for it to be a free pledge, as is the Apostles' Creed, if people say that in church freely. It is a beautiful thing. It becomes very ugly when it's forced. There's no difference in the sound, but it changes from democracy to fascism in that process, and that's dangerous.
I feel sorry for the lady.
Is that all?
No, she's chipping away at the great principles of patriotism. If you allow the school board to say to a child that you can either salute the flag or you can give the Pledge of Allegiance or you cannot give it, well, then you're just taking a link out of the chain of what I call patriotism and democracy. And I feel it is chipping away at the basic things that have made this country great. And these people who come up here from the American Civil Liberties Union who advocate it, they're just misguided.
Because
I think this is the private sector ought to take care of the problem. And the private sector can build them 25 to 35% cheaper. So why should we spend money just because the federal government is doing it? You know, the unions and everybody else charges the government just a little bit more.
Well, why aren't we building more private housing then?
Lack of funds.
And is there any way around that?
Everybody's looking for this solution, and when we find it, why, we will have tapped the source. We don't need any big miracles. We got the ability to produce all the housing that we would need in Dallas County if we could find the financing. But at 8 or 9%, a man doesn't want to pay this. He's waiting for the interest rate to come down.
And do you think it will come down?
I think it has to.
Every college worries about whether its public really understands what its mission is. And a community college's mission is sufficiently different from, say, the mission of SMU or Bishop College that sometimes people confuse our roles. And where we may have a greater emphasis in technical occupational programs than any other college in the area, this is sometimes misunderstood. You see, an awful lot of these people who are going to El Centro might never have gone to college anywhere had it not been for this college.
In the first place, there is a great deal of concern and nervousness, lest there be an intensification of hostilities in the area, such as there was in June of 1967. Frankly, I don't see that in the near future. The neighboring Arab countries are, frankly, militarily impotent to take any action against Israel of an effective nature at all.
Is there any way to control the renegade actions of saboteurs such as the Arabs who Israeli believe have been responsible for the bombing of some planes?
I don't see any means, because if you take the countries from which they operate, they're not really operating for Egypt, because the front lies on the Suez Canal and is manned by conventional military forces. But you take Jordan. In what is left of Jordan, even after the loss of the West Bank, the majority of people in Jordan are Palestinian. Out of a population of a little more than 1 million, 800,000 are of Palestinian origin. The other 200,000 are from Bedouin tribes and from Circassian origin. So that you have the majority of King Hussein's subjects sympathetic in one degree or another with the Palestine Liberation Movement. King Hussein couldn't possibly control the activities of that movement in his country and remain 24 hours on the throne.
Well, Mr. Sinclair, we feel that this was perhaps a little hasty in making a decision to change the name of a street that's been dedicated for over 40 years. It seems to me that the street name that's named for an individual rather than just by number or by a general term has more significance than to just be changed overnight at the whim of either council or any commercial establishment, which may or may not be here in years to come. The original purpose being possibly, and I feel very strongly this way, to honor a person, to preserve the memory of this person, and we feel rather strongly that it not be changed at this time.